First contact and miscalculation. The vast expanse of space stretched out before the Zarkon scout ship, stars twinkling like distant beacons in the endless void. Commander Vexlor stood at the helm, his 4 eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding him. The ship had been on a routine scouting mission, charting unexplored sectors of the galaxy for the ever-expanding Zarkon Empire. "Commander," called out Science Officer Zelthra, her voice tinged with excitement. "We're picking up signals from an uncharted system. It appears to be inhabited." Vexlor's antenna twitched with interest. "Show me," he ordered, his gravelly voice echoing through the command center. A holographic image of a blue and green planet materialized before them, surrounded by primitive satellites and space debris. Zelthra's fingers danced across her console as she analyzed the incoming data. "It's a Class M planet, sir. Oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere, vast bodies of water, and signs of civilization." Vexlor leaned in, his eyes narrowing as he studied the image. "Interesting. What level of technological advancement are we looking at?" Zelthra's expression shifted to one of amusement. "Primitive, sir. They've barely managed to leave their own atmosphere. Their most advanced technology seems to be based on silicon and electricity. No signs of antimatter manipulation or quantum computing." A low chuckle rumbled through the command center. Vexlor allowed himself a small smile. Another world ripe for conquest. Then, the Empire will be pleased. For centuries, the Zarkon Empire had expanded across the stars, conquering and assimilating lesser species into their collective. They prided themselves on their advanced technology, unparalleled military might, and strategic brilliance. This new world would be but another jewel in their ever-growing crown. "Prepare a full report for the High Command," Vexlor ordered. "We'll need to assess the planet's resources and determine the best approach for colonization." As the scout ship maintained its position just beyond the range of Earth's primitive detection systems, the Zarkon crew began their analysis. They observed the human cities, their modes of transportation, their means of communication. Everything they saw reinforced their initial assessment. These humans were centuries, if not millennia, behind the Zarkon in terms of development. "Look at them," sneered Weapons Officer Kaznar, pointing to an image of human soldiers engaged in combat. "They still use projectile weapons and wheeled vehicles. It's almost endearing." Zelthra nodded in agreement. "Their most advanced aircraft can barely achieve supersonic speeds. Our fighters would run circles around them." Vexlor absorbed all this information, his tactical mind already formulating strategies for the invasion. "We'll need to be cautious, nonetheless," he warned. "Primitive species can sometimes be unpredictable. We don't want any unnecessary complications." Days turned into weeks as the Zarkon scout ship continued its surveillance. They intercepted and decrypted human communications, studied their social structures, and mapped out key strategic locations across the planet. The more they learned, the more confident they became in their superiority. Finally, after a month of observation, Vexlor felt they had gathered enough intelligence. "Send the report to High Command," he ordered. "Recommend immediate action for colonization." The response came swiftly. The Zarkon Empire, ever hungry for new worlds to conquer, approved the invasion plan without hesitation. Within days, a massive war fleet was assembled, consisting of hundreds of ships ranging from nimble fighters to enormous dreadnoughts capable of reducing entire cities to ash. As the fleet assembled at the edge of Earth's solar system, Admiral Zoxera, the supreme commander of the invasion force, addressed his troops. His holographic image flickered across every ship in the fleet, his voice resonating with authority and confidence. "Warriors of the Zarkon Empire," he began, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Before us lies a new world, ripe for the taking. Its inhabitants are primitive, their defenses laughable. We bring them the gift of civilization, the honor of serving the greatest empire the universe has ever known." A cheer erupted across the fleet, the Zarkon soldiers eager for the glory of conquest. "But do not grow complacent," Zoxera warned, his tone turning serious. Even the lowliest of creatures can bite when cornered. We will strike swiftly, we will strike decisively, and we will accept nothing less than total victory. As the invasion fleet began its approach to Earth, cloaked from detection by their advanced technology, a sense of excitement and anticipation filled the Zarkon ranks. This would be an easy conquest, a footnote in the grand history of their empire. Little did they know that the humans they so casually dismissed were about to teach them a lesson in warfare they would never forget. The Zarkon were about to discover why humans, despite their seemingly primitive technology, were considered the deadliest warriors in the universe. The invasion of Earth was about to begin, and with it, a war that would shake the very foundations of the Zarkon Empire. The invasion begins. The Zarkon invasion fleet descended upon Earth like a storm of metal and energy. Their massive ships broke through the atmosphere, casting enormous shadows over cities across the globe. Panic spread like wildfire as humans everywhere looked up to see the impossible, proof that they were not alone in the universe, arriving with unmistakable hostile intent. Admiral Zoxera watched from his command ship, a smug smile playing across his insectoid features. "Begin the first wave," he ordered, his voice calm and assured. "Target their military installations and seats of government. Let's show these primitives the futility of resistance." Across the planet, Zarkon ships unleashed salvos of energy weapons. Buildings crumbled, infrastructure collapsed, and human military bases erupted in flames. The aliens watched with detached interest, expecting to see mass surrenders and pleas for mercy. But something unexpected happened. Instead of cowering, humans fought back with a ferocity that caught the Zarkon completely off guard. Military jets scrambled, engaging the alien fighters in desperate aerial combat. Despite their technological disadvantage, human pilots displayed an audacity and skill that resulted in surprising victories. On the ground, soldiers and civilians alike rallied to defend their homes. They used everything at their disposal, from advanced missiles to improvised explosives. The Zarkon found themselves bogged down in urban warfare, facing an enemy that refused to submit. Commander Vexilor, now leading a ground assault team, found himself pinned down in what was once a bustling metropolis. "This is impossible," he snarled into his communicator. "These humans are using tactics we've never encountered before. They're turning their own destroyed infrastructure against us." Indeed, humans had quickly adapted to the alien threat. They used collapsed buildings as cover, set up ambushes in subway tunnels, and employed guerrilla tactics that kept the Zarkon constantly on edge. Every street could hide a sniper, every pile of rubble could conceal an explosive trap. Back on the command ship, Admiral Zoxera's confidence began to waver. "How is this happening?" he demanded, slamming his fist on the holographic display. "They're savages. Their weapons are centuries behind ours." Zelthra, now serving as the fleet's chief intelligence officer, struggled to provide answers. "Sir, it appears we severely underestimated their adaptability and resolve. They're not fighting as individuals, but as a collective entity. Every human seems willing to sacrifice everything to repel us." As the first day of the invasion drew to a close, the Zarkon found themselves in a stalemate. Yes, they had superior technology and firepower, but the humans' tenacity and ingenuity had prevented the swift victory they had anticipated. In the ruins of what was once Washington, D.C., a group of human soldiers huddled in a makeshift bunker. Among them was Sergeant Sarah Connor, a battle-hardened veteran who had seen more combat in the past 24 hours than in her entire career. "Listen up," she addressed her team, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "I know we're outgunned and outmatched, but we have something these alien bastards don't. We're fighting for our home, for our families, for everything we hold dear. They might have come here expecting an easy conquest, but we're going to show them why you should never underestimate humanity." Her words resonated with the soldiers, igniting a fire in their hearts. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting to prove that humanity deserved its place among the stars. As night fell, The Zarkon regrouped, attempting to analyze the day's unexpected turn of events. Admiral Zoxera called an emergency meeting with his top commanders. "This was supposed to be a simple colonization," he growled, his frustration evident. "Instead, we find ourselves embroiled in a war with a species that refuses to acknowledge its own inferiority. We need a new strategy." Commander Vexlor, his armor scorched and dented from the day's battles, spoke up. "Sir, I believe we need to reassess our entire approach. These humans, they're unlike any species we've encountered. They don't fight like a military force. Every one of them is a potential soldier, using their environment and limited resources in ways we never anticipated." Zoxera's eyes narrowed. "Are you suggesting these primitives are a match for the mighty Zarkon Empire?" "No, sir," Vexlor replied cautiously. "But I am suggesting that we cannot treat this like our previous conquests. The humans have a spirit, a drive that makes them formidable despite their technological shortcomings. If we're to succeed, we need to understand what makes them tick." As the Zarkon leaders debated their next move, humanity was already mobilizing on a global scale. Countries that were once enemies now united against a common threat. Scientists worked tirelessly to understand the alien technology from downed ships and captured weapons. Military strategists pored over every scrap of intelligence, seeking weaknesses in the invaders' tactics. In orbit, a small team of astronauts aboard the International Space Station watched the conflict unfold beneath them. Led by Commander Elena Rodriguez, they realized they were in a unique position to gather intelligence on the alien fleet. "We might be humanity's eyes in the sky," Elena told her crew. "Let's make every observation count. The folks on the ground are counting on us." As the first day of the invasion came to an end, both sides prepared for what was to come. The Zarkon, shaken but still confident in their ultimate victory, planned for a war of attrition. They believed that given enough time, their superior technology would prevail. But humanity was just getting started. In labs, in bunkers, and in the hearts of every human being, a resolve was hardening. They had faced the impossible and held their ground. Now they would show these alien invaders why humans were considered the deadliest warriors in the universe. The real war was about to begin, and the Zarkon were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating their opponents. Human ingenuity unleashed. As the war entered its second week, the initial shock of the alien invasion had given way to a grim determination across the globe. Humanity, despite being outgunned and facing an enemy from beyond the stars, refused to go quietly into the night. Instead, they did what humans do best. They adapted, innovated, and fought back with every tool at their disposal. In a hidden underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Samantha Chen worked tirelessly with a team of international scientists. Surrounded by the wreckage of downed Zarkon ships, they'd raced against time to unravel the secrets of alien technology. "Look at this," Dr. Chen exclaimed, holding up a small pulsating device. "Their power sources are based on a form of quantum entanglement we've only theorized about. If we can reverse engineer this, we might be able to level the playing field." Across the lab, her colleague, Dr. Yusuf Amari, made another breakthrough. "The alloy used in their hull plating," he said, eyes wide with excitement. "It's not just strong, it's adaptive. It learns from damage and reinforces weak points. Imagine if we could apply this to our own defenses." As scientists pushed the boundaries of human knowledge, soldiers on the front lines were developing their own innovations. Captain Jack Harper, leading a resistance cell in the ruins of London, had become a master of asymmetric warfare against the Zarkon. "They expect us to fight like a traditional army," Harper briefed his team, pointing to a makeshift map of alien patrol routes. "But we're not going to give them what they expect. We're going to be the ghost in the machine, the thorn in their side they can never quite remove." Harper's team had developed a series of guerrilla tactics that left the Zarkon reeling. They used the city's old sewer systems to move undetected, rigged abandoned vehicles as remote-controlled bombs, and even reprogrammed civilian drones to jam alien communications. On the other side of the world, in the dense jungles of Brazil, another form of resistance was taking shape. Indigenous tribes, led by a young shaman named Raoni, were using their intimate knowledge of the rainforest to run circles around the alien invaders. The forest is alive, Raoni told a group of international special forces who had come to learn from them. It speaks to those who know how to listen. The aliens are deaf to its voice, and that is their weakness. The tribesmen taught the soldiers how to move silently through the underbrush, how to use the natural flora to create potent poisons that could corrode even Zarkon armor, and how to disappear into the landscape as if they were never there. Meanwhile, in orbit, Commander Elena Rodriguez and her crew on the International Space Station had turned their scientific outpost into a crucial intelligence-gathering hub. Using jury-rigged equipment and sheer ingenuity, they managed to intercept and decrypt Zarkon communications. "They're planning a major offensive," Elena radioed down to Earth, her voice tense but determined. "But more importantly, we've identified patterns in their fleet movements. There are blind spots in their sensor coverage. If we time it right, we might be able to launch a counterattack they'll never see coming." Back on the Zarkon command ship, Admiral Zoxera was facing a crisis he had never anticipated. His invasion force, once confident of an easy victory, was now bogged down in a war of attrition against an enemy that seemed to grow stronger and more cunning with each passing day. "How is this possible?" he raged, glaring at the holographic display of yet another failed offensive. "They're using our own technology against us now. Where are they getting these innovations?" Commander Vexlor, who had spent more time fighting on the ground than any other high-ranking Zarkon, offered a sobering assessment. "Sir, I believe we fundamentally misunderstood the nature of our enemy. The humans, they don't think like us. Each one of them is capable of independent thought and creativity on a level we've never encountered before." Zelthra, the intelligence officer, nodded in agreement. "Our society values conformity and obedience. It makes us strong as a collective, but rigid. The humans, their strength lies in their diversity and adaptability. Each one is a potential innovator, a guerrilla fighter, a leader." As if to underscore their point, alarms blared across the command ship. A human strike team, using captured and modified Zarkon technology, had managed to slip through their defenses and was now wreaking havoc in the lower decks. Zoxera watched in disbelief as the security feeds showed humans wielding repurposed Zarkon weapons with deadly efficiency. They moved with a coordination and adaptability that seemed impossible for a species that mere weeks ago had never even seen alien technology. "Impossible," he muttered, but the evidence was right before his eyes. As the battle raged both on Earth and in the skies above, a new understanding began to dawn on the Zarkon invaders. They had come expecting to find a primitive species ready for easy conquest. Instead, they found themselves locked in combat with perhaps the most dangerous enemy they had ever faced. Humanity, with its boundless creativity, its ability to innovate under pressure, and its unyielding will to survive, was proving to be the deadliest force in the universe. And the war was far from over. In labs and battlefields, in dense jungles and ruined cities, humans continued to adapt, to innovate, and to fight back. They were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting to show the galaxy why humanity was a force to be reckoned with. As the tides of war began to shift, one thing became clear. The Zarkon had made a grave mistake in underestimating Earth, and that mistake might just cost them everything. The turning point. 3 months into the invasion, Earth was a changed planet. Cities lay in ruins, continents were scared by battles, but humanity's spirit remained unbroken. In fact, it had been tempered like steel in fire, growing stronger with each passing day. And now, after months of desperate defense and guerrilla warfare, humanity was ready to strike back. Operation Thunderbolt, as it was called, was the largest coordinated military action in human history. It was a plan born from the collective efforts of military strategists, scientists, hackers, and even gamers from around the world. The objective: to turn the tables on the Zarkon and take the fight to their fleet. In a hardened bunker deep beneath the Alps, General Lydia Winters addressed the leaders of the global resistance via a secure holographic conference. Her face, etched with the weariness of constant battle, nonetheless shone with determination. "Today, we show these invaders that humanity is not just another conquest," she declared, her voice firm and resolute. "We've bled, we've lost, but we've also learned. And now we fight back not just for our survival, but for our place among the stars." The plan was audacious, relying on every bit of innovation and adaptation humanity had developed over the past months. Reprogrammed Zarkon drones would create a massive electromagnetic pulse to disable the aliens' communication networks. Retrofitted satellites, their positions calculated by the ISS team, would create a web of misinformation, flooding Zarkon sensors with false data. And then, the masterstroke. A strike team, led by Captain Jack Harper and guided by Raoni's forest warriors, would infiltrate the Zarkon command ship itself. Their mission: to upload a virus developed by Dr. Chen and her team, a digital Trojan horse that would turn the aliens' own technology against them. As the operation commenced, the Zarkon found themselves facing an enemy they barely recognized. Human forces, now armed with hybrid weapons that combined Earth and alien technology, struck with precision and coordination that seemed impossible mere months ago. In low Earth orbit, Commander Elena Rodriguez watched from the ISS as the space battle unfolded. Human pilots, flying crafts cobbled together from terrestrial and alien tech, danced between Zarkon ships with a grace that left the aliens stunned. "It's working," Elena breathed, watching as the Zarkon fleet fell into disarray. They never saw this coming. On the Zarkon command ship, Admiral Zoxera was in a state of panic. Alarms blared from every console, reports of failures cascaded in from all fronts, and for the first time, the mighty Zarkon warrior felt something he had never experienced before: fear. "How?" he roared, mandibles clicking in agitation. "How are they doing this? They were primitives. They should be cowering before our might." Commander Vexlor, who had long since developed a grudging respect for human tenacity, finally understood. "Sir," he said, his voice filled with a mix of awe and resignation, "I believe we've discovered why humans are considered the deadliest warriors in the universe." As if on cue, the ship rocked with internal explosions. Harper's team had breached the outer defenses and was fighting their way to the central core. The Zarkon soldiers, used to fighting as a coordinated hive mind, found themselves outmaneuvered by the humans' individual initiative and adaptability. In the corridors of the alien ship, Harper's team moved with lethal efficiency. Each member operated independently yet in perfect sync, making split-second decisions that kept the Zarkon constantly off balance. "You see," Harper explained to a captured Zarkon officer, even as his team continued to advance, "your mistake was thinking that our technology defined us. But humanity's strength isn't in our tools. It's in our minds, our hearts, our indomitable will to survive and thrive." As Dr. Chen's virus wormed its way through the Zarkon systems, the aliens watched in horror as their own ships began to turn against each other. The carefully coordinated Zarkon fleet dissolved into chaos, while the human forces pressed their advantage with relentless determination. Back on Earth, in cities and villages across the globe, humans watched the skies with bated breath. And then, a sight they had longed to see for months: Zarkon ships, trailing fire and smoke, falling from the heavens. The tide had turned. Humanity, against all odds, was winning. As the battle reached its crescendo, Admiral Zoxera found himself face to face with General Winters, who had led a daring assault on the command ship's bridge. The Zarkon admiral, his mighty empire crumbling around him, finally understood the truth that Vexlor had been trying to convey. "You," Zoxera said, his voice a mix of fear and grudging respect, "your species, You're not just warriors, you're survivors, innovators. Each one of you is a general, a scientist, a revolutionary. Winters nodded grimly. We've faced extinction before, Admiral. Ice ages, plagues, our own destructive nature. Each time, we've adapted, evolved, emerged stronger. Your invasion was just another challenge to overcome. As the last of the Zarkon resistance crumbled, a new reality settled across the galaxy. Humanity, the species that had been dismissed as primitive, had defeated one of the most powerful empires in the cosmos. And in doing so, they had announced their presence to the stars in a way that could never be ignored. The war was ending, but Earth's journey was just beginning. For in proving themselves the deadliest warriors in the universe, humanity had also shown that they were innovators, diplomats, and explorers. They had earned their place among the stars, not through conquest, but through the very qualities that made them human. As the sun rose on a liberated Earth, humanity looked to the sky not with fear, but with anticipation. The universe had come to them, and now they were ready to venture out and meet a new understanding. In the wake of humanity's stunning victory over the Zarkon Empire, Earth found itself at a crossroads. The planet bore the scars of a war that had pushed human civilization to the brink. Yet amidst the rubble and ruin, a new era was dawning. Humanity had not only survived, they had evolved, adapting alien technology and combining it with their own ingenuity to create something entirely new. As the dust settled, the remaining Zarkon forces, now under the command of Vexlor, who had surrendered to Captain Harper in the final days of the war, were contained in designated areas around the globe. But unlike the Zarkon's initial plans for Earth, humans did not seek to enslave or eradicate their former enemies. Instead, they sought understanding. In a repurposed alien structure now serving as the United Earth headquarters, General Winters sat across from Vexlor, their meeting a symbol of the changing times. "You must understand," Vexlor began, his voice tinged with a newfound respect. "In all our centuries of conquest, we've never encountered a species like yours. Your adaptability, your creativity in the face of overwhelming odds. It's unprecedented." Winters nodded, her expression a mix of pride and weariness. "That's the thing about humans, Vexlor. We're not just warriors. We're explorers, innovators, dreamers. This war forced us to channel all of that into survival, but now we have a chance to turn it towards something greater." As they spoke, screens around them displayed scenes from around the world. In what was once a battlefield in the heart of Tokyo, humans and cooperatives Zarkon worked side by side, using a combination of technologies to restore the city. In the Amazon, Rayoni and his tribe were teaching a group of fascinated alien scientists about Earth's complex ecosystems. "Your people have much to teach us," Vexlor admitted. "We've been conquerors for so long, we forgot how to learn, how to grow." Winters smiled. "And we have much to learn from you as well. Your technology, your understanding of the universe, combined with human creativity. Imagine what we could achieve." This spirit of cooperation and mutual learning was spreading across the globe. Dr. Chen and her team, now working alongside Zarkon scientists, were making breakthroughs that promised to revolutionize everything from energy production to medical treatment. In orbit, the International Space Station had been expanded into a sprawling spaceport, a testament to the new era of human space exploration. Commander Rodriguez, now overseeing the construction of Earth's first interstellar ship, couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. From fighting for survival to reaching for the stars, she mused, watching as human and Zarkon engineers worked in perfect sync. That's humanity for you, always pushing boundaries. But it wasn't just in grand projects that this new understanding was taking root. All across the world, in small towns and big cities, humans and Zarkon were learning from each other, sharing stories, cultures, and ideas. In a small cafe in Paris, a young human artist sat sketching the Zarkon child, who was in turn attempting to recreate a human painting with its 4 hands. The scene, unimaginable just months ago, now seemed a perfect encapsulation of the new world they were building. As news of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy, other alien civilizations took notice, some with fear, others with curiosity, but all with the realization that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Diplomats from a dozen different species arrived on Earth, eager to establish relations with this upstart race that had defeated the mighty Zarkon Empire. In the UN General Assembly, now expanded to include representatives from every nation on Earth, as well as the reformed Zarkon government, Admiral Zoxera, once the leader of the invasion, now a humble ambassador, addressed the gathered delegates. "We came to your world seeing only a primitive species ripe for conquest," he began, his voice carrying across the hushed chamber. "We thought our technology, our military might, made us invincible, but you taught us a valuable lesson. True strength lies not in weapons or ships, but in the spirit of those who wield them." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the diverse assembly. "Humans are indeed the deadliest warriors in the universe, but not for the reasons we initially thought. Your deadliness comes from your adaptability, your creativity, your unyielding determination. But more than that, it comes from your capacity for growth, for turning enemies into allies, for seeing opportunities where others see only obstacles." As Zoxera spoke, screens around the world broadcast his words to every corner of the globe. In refugee camps and rebuilt cities, in laboratories and schools, humans and aliens alike listened, sensing the weight of this moment in history. "We stand here today, not as conquerors or conquered," Zoxera continued, "but as partners. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. Together, combining Zarkon knowledge with human ingenuity, we can face whatever challenges lie ahead." The assembly erupted in applause, a cacophony of human voices and alien sounds blending into a symphony of hope and possibility. As the applause died down, General Winters took the podium. Her eyes, which had seen so much hardship and loss, now shone with the light of new possibilities. "Today marks not just the end of a war, but the beginning of a new chapter for humanity," she declared. "We've proven ourselves on the battlefield, yes, but now we have the opportunity to prove ourselves in peace, in exploration, in pushing the boundaries of science and understanding." She gestured to the assembled delegates, human and alien alike. "We are no longer alone in the universe, and while we've shown that we can be the deadliest warriors when needed, let us now show that we can also be the most compassionate allies, the most innovative partners, and the most daring explorers." As Winter's words echoed across the planet and beyond, humanity stood on the brink of a new age. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take their place among the stars. The war had proven them to be the deadliest warriors in the universe, but peace would give them the chance to be so much more. In labs and classrooms, in spacecraft, and on alien worlds, humans would continue to adapt, to innovate, to push the boundaries of what was possible. And as they ventured out into the cosmos, they carried with them the lessons learned from their hardest fight. That true strength comes not from technology or firepower, but from the indomitable spirit of those who refuse to give up, who always find a way to survive and thrive. The universe had challenged humanity, and humanity had answered. Now, as the stars beckoned, they were ready for whatever wonders or dangers awaited them. For they were not just the deadliest warriors. They were explorers, dreamers, and innovators. They were human, and they were ready to show the galaxy all that meant.